Have you ever looked at a Pokemon and thought that its type just doesn't make sense? Well, I have many times. And so, today's video is going to be a countdown of the top 10 Pokemon whose types appear to make no sense at first glance. In my opinion, of course. Number 10 we have Yanmega. In general, I like Yanmega, but not as much as Yanma. It's on this list not because I feel that its current typing doesn't make sense as such, but it might suit another type a little bit more. In Yanmega's case, this typing would be Bug Dragon. The fact that Yanma and Yanmega are based on dragonflies is enough for this to work. Yanma suits bug flying much more than it would suit Bug Dragon, so I only feel this way about Yanmega. Yanmega's current typing still makes sense, which is why it's at the bottom of this list, but I still believe that the potential for a Bug Dragon type was very much a missed opportunity here. At number 9 we have Helioptile and Heliolisk. We all know that these two are part electric type, but what could that other type be? I thought that the typing of these two was completely obvious, but I was wrong. I first came across Helioptile in Route 9, a route that you would typically expect to be inhabited by ground types. In fact, the other two Pokemon that can be encountered in this route, Hippopotas and Sandile, are ground types. Helioptile's Pokedex entry in X also states that it makes its home in deserts. Sounds like a ground type, right? No! Electric normal. This just doesn't make sense to me. Normal types are generally based off mammals and birds too, and these two are clearly reptiles. They just don't show many characteristics typical to that of normal type Pokemon in my opinion. Number 8. Flabébé, Floette, and Florges. Okay, look at these three fairies. Flabébé and Floette are holding flowers, and Florges has partially become a flower. We've had Pokemon based on flowers before. They all tend to be of a grass type, so it would make sense for the Flabébé line to be grass fairy, right? Nope! Pure fairy type. Some of you may argue that Flabébé is merely holding a flower, so this shouldn't affect its typing. However, the Pokedex entry from Pokemon X states that the flower is likely part of its body. This is likely the case for Floette too, and the flower has clearly become a part of Florges' body. But somehow, these are pure fairy types. Number 7 is Inkay. Inkay is easily one of my favorite New Kalos Pokemon. At first glance, I thought that it was a water type. I mean, it's based on a squid, so it's easy to see why I thought that. Inkay is actually a psychic dark type. Its psychic type is understandable, considering the hypnotic lights on its body, but outside of its move pool, it's hard to see why it's a dark type. On the other hand, Malamar, Inkay's evolution, seems to represent both of these types very well within its design, but I still can't get past the fact that Inkay looks like it would suit a water typing so well. Number 6 is Jynx. Jynx has always been one of the more confusing Pokemon to begin with, but its ice typing is just not obvious at all. You'd only be able to guess her type if you stuck her against a snowy background. Now, I might be completely off the mark here, but I heard somewhere that the ice type was actually implemented into the Generation 1 games very late into their development. I don't remember the source that I heard that from, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. In any case, this would be why there are no pure ice types in this game, as the type was simply stuck onto other Pokemon, including Jynx. It makes sense too, seeing as none of the ice tech designs of Generation 1 exactly scream ice. For this reason, it's possible that Jynx was never even intended to be an ice type when it was first designed, but it was only added later. Why? Personally, I think that this may have been done to make Jynx stand out a little bit more from the other humanoid psychic types in Generation 1, but that's just my opinion. My choice for number 5 is Palkia. Palkia is one of my favourite Pokemon, but I have to admit that its typing doesn't really make a lot of sense. Palkia's counterpart Dialga, a Dragon Steel Pokemon, really does look its type. Unfortunately, I just can't say the same for Palkia. It's almost as if the water type was added to prevent Palkia from being a pure dragon type, which may have been a little boring. None of Palkia's Pokedex entries hint as to why it's a water type. The only other Pokemon of this type combination, Kingdra, shows just how well both of these types can be incorporated into a single design. I don't think that Palkia pulls this off quite as well, but it's not enough to make me stop liking Palkia as a whole. Number 4 is Mega Gyarados. When I first saw Mega Gyarados, I thought that for sure its typing would be Water Dragon, but I was wrong. Mega Gyarados' typing is actually Water Dark. The Dark type seems to completely come out of nowhere. Gyarados, along with Charizard, has always come under scrutiny for being part Flying type instead of part Dragon type. Mega Charizard X fixed the problem for Charizard, but Mega Gyarados didn't follow suit. So, I guess we have to accept that this guy will never be a real dragon after all. The spot for number 3 goes to Goomy and Sliggoo. The infamous dragon types of Kalos. They just don't look like dragon types at all. I know I'm not alone on this. I understand that these two have Gudra as their final evolution, which is quite clearly a dragon, but these two are worlds away from looking like dragons. They're based on slugs and snails, so a bug or even a poison typing would have suited them a little bit better. Even a dual typing of bug dragon would have made a lot more sense. Gyarados doesn't have as much as a bug type feel as its earlier stages, but I think that having a 3-stage bug dragon type evolution line would have really made things more interesting. Number 2 is Lucario. I, like many people, am a pretty big fan of Lucario's design. However, it does have one big flaw, being that it does not look like its type. At all. I would genuinely be unable to guess Lucario's secondary type if I didn't already know what it was. I understand that it was a good idea to give this Pokemon a unique type combination of Fighting Steel, especially given the abundance of pure fighting types. It makes Lucario shine in a way that others don't, but at the very least it could have been incorporated into its design much better. The only hint towards its steel typing is its metallic spikes on its paws. 2 little spikes. This could be a reference to the phrase Iron Fist, but I don't think that it justifies the steel type. There are other Pokemon that have metallic spikes on their bodies, but aren't of a steel type. None of its Pokédex entries hint towards why it's a steel type either. Lucario is an awesome Pokemon, but its type just doesn't make sense. And so, in my opinion, the Pokemon whose type makes the least sense is Lugia. Lugia is possibly one of the most confusing Pokemon in regard to typing of them all. Let's look at this. Lugia is referred to as the Guardian of the Sea in both the games and the anime, and is officially known as the diving Pokemon. In the games, Lugia can be found in the Whirl Islands, deep at the bottom of the sea. Ho-Oh, the version mascot of Gold and Heart Gold, is a fire flying type. Lugia, as its counterpart, is the version mascot of Silver and Soul Silver and is psychic flying? This doesn't make sense. There have been so many hints toward Lugia being part water type, and barely any hints that point toward it being part psychic type. I went digging for clues, and the fact that Lugia is able to use telepathy in the anime may hint toward a psychic typing, right? Wrong! Other legendary Pokemon, such as Entei and Shaman, have both been shown to have this ability too, despite not being of a psychic type. Let's look at why else Lugia should be a water type. In the openings for both Silver and Soul Silver, Lugia is seen at the bottom of the ocean! Lugia has also been classed as a water type many times in the Pokemon TCG, despite not being a water type. Lugia is easily the most infuriating Pokemon to me in regard to type confusion, and thoroughly deserves its place at the top of this list. And so, that was my list of the Pokemon whose types make the least sense to me. Are there any Pokemon that I missed? Be sure to leave a comment down below if you can think of something that I didn't. In any case, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!